Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ron Recipio-Lutz. I'm an academic advisor here at the University of Toronto, Mississauga. Today's presentation is on the course enrollment workshop for those of you admitted to humanities, social science, and communications. Today, working behind the scenes, I have some of my colleagues, so I'd like to introduce them before we begin today. First is the other academic advisor in today's session who'll be working in the background and answering the questions at the end. That would be my colleague, Kate.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Kate Romano, and as Ron said, I'm one of the other academic advisors here at the UTM Registrar's Office, and I want to welcome you to today's session. I'm very happy that you're here. I'm sure you're going to learn lots, and you'll have lots of questions, and I'm sure we'll be answering them during the presentation and as well at the end. So thanks for being here.
Great. And we also have two of our peer leaders here today who are going to be helping us behind the scenes as well as sharing some experiences. So we have me and Maheen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nii. I'm currently a fourth year student here at UTM and also one of your peer leaders. I'm very happy to be joining here today to share some of my past experience as well as some useful resources that would help you during your year at UTM.
Hi everyone, my name is Maheen. I'm a fourth year student and I'm also a peer leader working with the Office of Registrar. And I'll be sharing some resources and hopefully helping answer your questions and sharing my experiences.
Great. Thanks, guys. So we'll get started with today's presentation. We are going to be answering questions at the end of the session as well. If you'd like to hold your questions to the end, that's great. If you would like to type them into the chat, if we can answer them as we're going along, we will. But just keep in mind that your question might be answered in the presentation as well. So if it is, you might not get an answer until the end or during the presentation itself. So let's get started. So I'd like to acknowledge the traditional land on which we operate and work. So we wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. So our agenda today, the things we're going to discuss and talk about, are things like important dates that you should know, understanding the degree requirements. So just what does it take to get a degree from U of T, Mississauga? We're also going to talk about choosing your program. We're going to talk about course selection. This is probably the most important because that's why we're all here today. This is probably one of the most important sessions you're going to attend in the summer. We're also going to look at planning resources. We're also going to look at some of the next steps, things you should be thinking about, like your payment method, and also how to obtain your student card. And with that comes your email address with U of T as well. So important dates. Number one important date for first year newly admitted students is July 19th. That's the first day of course enrollment. We, of course, have second years enrolling on the 13th and third year students enrolling starting yesterday. Our fourth year students started on June 28th. So this gives you a timeline of how we kind of stagger the start times. That's so that Acorn system doesn't get overloaded. We're going to have our deadlines to pay your fees by August 16th. So you either have to pay your minimum payment or defer your fees if you get OSAP or funding from out of province. First day of classes would be September the 6th, and the last day to add or drop an F and Y course is actually September 21st. So you can make changes on your timetable schedule between now and September 21st. So earning a degree. The University of Toronto Mississauga actually only gives 4 different types of degrees. So we give an honors Bachelor of Arts degree, an honors Bachelor of Science degree, a Bachelor of Commerce degree, and a Bachelor of Business Administration. In order to earn the degree, we combine general requirements that we normally call degree requirements, along with your programs of study. So you would have to complete the general requirements, the program completion requirements in order to complete the degree itself. So there's 2 portions to getting qualified for graduation. So general requirements. All students have to complete a general set of requirements. We call these the requirements for graduation, the degree requirements. This includes a minimum of 20 credits, and a cumulative grade point average of 1.85 or more. Now, admission to some programs are higher than 1.85, but you can fall all the way to 1.85 and still graduate. So programs of study known as subject posts, we actually have specialists, majors, and minor programs. And what we call the minimum program to graduate, these is what you could minimally do and still qualify. So you could have one specialist and graduate with that, or you can have two majors and graduate with that, or you can have one major and two minors and graduate with that. We also have what we call distribution requirements. Regardless of the degree type you're completing, every student has to complete 1.0 humanities, 1.0 social science, and 1.0 science credit. 20 credits total, including 13 credits at the 200 plus level and 6.0 credits at the 3/400 level. So really what this means is if I have to do 13 credits of my 20 at the 200 plus level, the maximum I can do towards my 20 credits at the 100 level is 7.0, because that would mean you're doing 7 first-year courses max and 13 plus credits with 6 at the 3/400. So you have a little bit of flexibility in there, but these are the minimum requirements we have to do. So program of study. Many people don't know what they want to study when they come, and that's actually quite normal. But we want you to understand we have 180 different programs to choose from. You are definitely going to be able to find a program combination that is not only um, enjoyable but unique to you. So not every student would be doing the same programs. Some might not. But understand that your combination of programs is really what your interests are and what you would like to complete. So a specialist, what are the differences between the specialist, the major, and the minor? Let's have a quick look at that. So if you're going to complete a specialist program, then you will be completing anywhere between 10 and 18 credits out of your 20 to complete your program. Those other 2 credits could technically be your distribution credits or elective courses. If you're going to complete a major, out of your 20 credits, 6.5 to 9.0 credits is what you would complete for a major, depending on the discipline or program. And a minor would be anywhere between 4 and 4.5 credits to complete the minor. So the difference between the specialist, major, minor is the number of credits required to complete the actual program requirements. So customize your degree. So you can specialize and focus on one program, or you can combine up to 3 different programs to diversify your interests and your goals. So we're never going to be bored. We're never going to only have one program. We can have up to 3 different programs. So your programs will determine which degree type you actually get. So let's look at some of these examples.
How will my program combinations determine the type of degree I receive? It is important to remember that the program combination you choose will affect the type of degree you get when you graduate. To get a better understanding of how your program affects your degree type, let's look at 3 different students who have enrolled in different programs. Our first student has enrolled in a chemistry major, which is a science program, and a biology major, which is also a science program. The degree she will receive is an Honors Bachelor of Science. Our next student has enrolled in a history major, which is an arts program, as well as a philosophy minor and a sociology minor, which are also both arts programs. Therefore, the degree he will receive is an Honors Bachelor of Arts. Our last student, on the other hand, has enrolled in an English major, which is an arts program, and a psychology major, which is a science program. In this case, he has a choice of either receiving an Honors Bachelor of Science or an Honors Bachelor of Arts.
Great. So let's have a look now at choosing our programs. First thing we need to do is explore. Have a look at all the different programs that UTM actually offers. So first year is the best time to explore all the academic options available at UTM. And remember, with 180 choices, you're going to have to take some time to sort out what interests you. Then you have to prepare. Some programs are more competitive than others, so the entry requirements are usually listed in detail to help you prepare on the academic calendar. And then we need to apply for the programs. So you will choose your program at the end of your first year after you've earned at least 4.0 UTM credits. So let's look at the different types of programs. Type 1. These programs are open to all students, they're automatic approval, and there's no program entry requirements for them. In other words, we can add and become active in a program at any time, both inside and outside the subject post selection period. Type 2 programs have unlimited space, but you must meet the program entry requirements. So you'll have to complete specific courses, specific grades, and obtain a specific CGPA. But if you do it, you will gain admission. Type 3 program is all the things Type 2 is, except for it has, as the first point in this category list, is limited spaces. So even if you meet the minimum requirements, you're not guaranteed admission because there's only so many spaces. So you'll find Type 3 programs very competitive to enter, but not impossible. If you are a good student and you have done all the requirements, then applying and achieving admission should be easily done. So applying on Acorn. So open for enrollment all year, automatic approval, no program entry requirements. Type 2 and Type 3, you have to apply during the subject post selection period, which we have 2. Round 1 is at the end of the winter term, and the acceptance period for that would be in May, June. Then we would do summer round 2, usually the end of June to the end of August is your request period, and then early September, you will either be invited or refused from the department. So food for thought. Let's take time to explore UTM's programs and plan ahead if possible. Are there specific courses that I need to take, specific grades, a specific CGPA? We would need to know that. It's okay to change your mind or not know what you want to study. First year is the perfect time to explore your options because you can change courses and programs and find a really good fit for you. So I'd like to ask my peer leaders to maybe share some of their experience with this idea.
Hi. Yeah, so during my first year at UTM, I was going to go with a more common approach, which is majoring in biology for health science and then minor in chem and French. However, as I took French, I realized that maybe it's not the path for me. So I sat down and scrolled through the programs that was offered by the Department of Biology because I know that's what I want to focus on. And I found biotechnology and I kind of fell in love with it ever since and been doing it. So yeah, I do suggest that take your time and go through that list. It can you may find something very interesting and new that you didn't know. And Maheen, how was your experience with choosing post?
Yeah, I had like quite an interesting experience of program selection and realizing where my interest lies because initially I was planning on enrolling into criminology and then I was excited about exploring that. But then in my first year, I came upon the forensic science stream as I took FSC 100 like as an elective and it intrigued me. So I decided to explore this program by taking like a few courses related to forensic science and forensic psychology, and it was an eye-opening experience, and I genuinely enjoyed it. But and then I reflected on like my academic goals and my career goals, and I kind of realized that I wanted like a broader understanding of the criminal justice system and exploration of like the human mind and psychology. And then after much thought, I just decided to double major in criminology and psychology. And I kind of realized how well fitting they are, and I really enjoyed that. And there were a number of resources that I used to make sure that I was on track to finish my degree as I was planning on graduating like after 4 years. And those resources are discussed on this presentation as well. And now I would like to pass it back to Ron.
Thanks, guys. As you guys can see, it's really important to realize that it's okay to change your mind about programs and to really start exploring other things. I myself have a minor in political science and I never thought I'd ever do a political science minor. So just be open-minded to thinking about and exploring other possibilities. We all come here with a preconceived notion that, oh, I'm going to do crime, but then I end up having a criminology major with a double minor in political science and Canadian studies. So just understand that it's okay to change your mind. Don't feel stuck if you were admitted to something and you still don't know what you want to study. Your first 2 years is going to be an exploring ideas. So the distribution requirements help you explore other programs. So like I said, when I was thinking about a minor for my criminology major here, I ended up taking a political science course, loved it, fell in love, just like Maheen and has done with her program. And so it's okay to, look at your distribution credits, and actually minors quite often come from some of the electives we choose for distribution. Because when we really take the course, we realize, wow, I really like this. So I understand you're not stuck. We can make changes, and just be open to exploring the other possibilities. University has many different programs that high school doesn't have. And this allows us opportunities to try things we never had at high school, like anthropology or philosophy or things like that. So remember, we're here to help you guys. There's UTM 1 classes. Those are introductory courses for first year students to explore how to navigate the university. We have a launch program as well. Those are courses that are not for credit. The UTM 1 courses are for credit. The launch program is not for credit, but still helpful with your transition. There's also help to be had at the Office of the Registrar, where Kate and I work out of. We also have the Career Center. That's where you would go to explore careers, jobs, occupations, or postgraduate studies or professional schools, teachers college, law school, medical school, things like that. And of course, the International Education Center for our international students. Anything to do with your study permit, your postgraduate work permit, the number of hours you would like to work on campus, all of that is that information is available through IEC. So, road to graduation. You have access to many different resources to help you plan and manage your academic progress. The academic calendar and the degree explorer are two wonderful tools that are most important tools for you to actually use, because it's going to show you the progress through your degree. So you can kind of see how you're doing, where you're at in the completion of your degree requirements. So tracking your progress on Degree Explorer. So you should check which program and program requirements you have completed and which ones are still outstanding. In this slide, we can see the green. That means I've completed that portion. I can see the third point as being pending, and it's blue. It means upon successful completion of those current courses, I will complete, and it will turn green once you pass those courses and you have final grades. If you see anything that's red, that means that those are still outstanding, and those are something you should look to complete in the next session. So watch the videos on Degree Explorer and learn more about it. You can actually link from Corcus right into Degree Explorer. So that's how you find it. So next steps. Explore the academic calendar. Take your time. There's about 180 programs, so you can't just flip through it. You need to explore the site and understand how to use it, how to navigate it, and get out what you need from that resource. Then you're going to explore your program options. You're going to use the course enrollment workbook to help guide you through some of the important questions. And then you can explore your course options. How many courses should you take? What is a full-time course load? How do I read course codes? Well, all of these are wonderful questions that we're going to answer today, because you guys need to know this in order to make your course selection. So I'll turn it over to our peer leaders to explain course codes.
Okay, thank you, Ron. So now I'm gonna go over one of the very most important skills, which is looking at a course code and understand the information that is being provided by the course code. And so course codes can contain a lot of information. It will tell you which program does the course belong to, and what level is the course, the credit value that it will be able to give you, and when is it being offered, and which campus is it offering the course. And now here we have an example. So it's English 101 H5F. And as you see, the first three characters of any course code will show you the department of the that is offering the course. So in this example, ENG stands for the Department of English. And after that is followed by the number. It can range from 1 to 4, with 1 is 100 level courses that are first year and more of introductory course. Whereas if you go towards the 400 level course, they are more advanced and they are intended for upper year students. But keep in mind that not just the first number is important. You have to look at all three of the number, because together these number identify the courses in the calendar, your sorry, your timetable, and as well as Acorn. And so, for example, see if we have 101 right here, it will be how to read critically. But if it's English 102, it will be how to research literature. And the 7 character will tell you what the course weight is. So H will give you a 0.5 credit course, and Y will give you a 1.0 credit course. And then the last number will indicate the campus that is offering the course. So most of UTM courses is 5, and you can also take courses at St. George, which is number 1, and UTSC will be number 3. And so, as I mentioned, you can take courses at other campus, but we recommend that you reserve your first year for UTM courses, and feel free to explore in more upper years. And lastly, the last letter will be an F, an S, or a Y, and this will identify the session that the course is being offered during. So for F, it will be September to December, or May to June if you're taking it during the spring. And S is January or April, or July to August if you're taking it in the summer. And finally, Y is the whole year course, so September to April or May to August if you're taking it in the summer. And now I'm going to invite Maheen back to the stage to introduce some of the resources that will help in building your schedule.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you for sharing that as well. So I would say two of the key resources that I found useful was the academic calendar and timetable builder. The academic calendar was briefly touched upon previously by Ron, but I'll just delve into it more. So plan your courses beforehand. Before enrollment begins, take the time to plan out everything. And a great tool when doing this is the academic calendar, as it provides an overview of the courses that are offered under each department, and it provides a brief description of the course as well, and it outlines program requirements. And this includes any specific course or grade requirements, and it also allows you to look at which courses you should be taking in your first year, second year, and upper years to fulfill those program requirements. Additionally, you can see the faculty and staff list. And this is important to note, as under this list, there will be the undergraduate advisor listed. And this advisor can help you with your program specific questions and advice that you may have in the future. And all of this information can be helpful in helping you make an informed decision about which courses to choose and provide you with the resources throughout your undergrad. Just to keep in mind, the academic calendar has all the courses that are available on in the at UTM. A more accurate resource would be the timetable builder, and now I'll talk about this. And this basically offers what courses are being offered in the academic year. So UTM offers the timetable builder tool, and this tool helps you plan your timetable by putting the courses you intend to take and generating like various scheduling options, and you can save them by exporting them as either a PDF file or a image file. And just remember that the timetable builder is for planning purposes only. You will still need to enroll into these courses on Acorn on your designated enrollment day and time. And this is really helpful as it can help you plan and see what your schedule would look like by looking at different courses and what time these courses are offered, and just play around with the tool to figure out which schedule works best for you, because it's really important that you choose classes that you are able to attend, as that's key in academic success. Now I would like to pass it over back to Ron.
Thank you, Nee, and thank you, Maheen, for your wonderful explanations today. Okay, so let's talk about course loads now. Here are some general guidelines to follow. If you wish to be full-time with the university, then you have to be in 3.0 credits or more in the fall-winter term. If you take 1/2 credit up to 2.5 credits, then you would be considered part-time. So whether you're full-time or part-time is simply determined by the number of credits you enroll yourself in. Everyone will start as a part-time student on enrollment date until you add 3.0 credits or more. Then your status will automatically change to becoming a full-time student. So keep that in mind that everyone's part-time until you add at least 3.0 credits, then your status will move to full-time. This is really important for international students because you guys have to be a full-time student. You have to be in 1.5 credits per term or more. And that is the condition of your study permit. So support for international students. We offer free immigration advising and programming support for all international students. This includes immigration advising, transition support and programming, university health insurance plan, global learning opportunities, and employment supports. Tips. The standard course load in a fall-winter term is 5 credits, 5 courses per year, and you can do 4 years, your degree would be complete. So many full-time students take fewer than 5. I find the majority of my students take 5, but a lot of times I see students take 4.0 fall winter and 1.0 in the summer. So you still finish 5.0 credits in your first year. So you haven't really lost anything, but you've taken a more manageable course load. Remember, if I'm taking 5 courses, then I'm definitely dividing my time 20% between every course. If I took 4.0 credits, then I'm only spending 25% of my time with each course. Then you could do the other 1.0 in the summer. Just remember when you make your timetable that you have to have it conflict free. You must remove the conflicts from your timetable because you simply can't be in 2 places at once. You can make changes to your timetable throughout the entire summer with no penalties. You have until September 21st to make changes to F and Y courses in order to finalize your timetable. So once classes begin, you become responsible for any of the fees or academic work associated with that course, even if you don't intend to complete the course or stay in it. So if you don't intend to be in a course, drop it and give other people the opportunity who may be sitting on a waiting list to actually enter the course because they really do want to take it. So what courses should I take? I would prioritize the required courses for my program. So if my program says I have to do this course, I'm going to add those first and then add other courses in and around so that I make sure I'm not creating conflicts in my timetable. So I would say consider your interests, your academic strengths, and don't be afraid to try something new. Like I said, we have a lot of programs that we don't have at high school, and it affords you the chance to try something new. So first year is a great time to explore and complete your electives or the distribution requirements for your degree that you need for graduation. You will choose your program at the end of the winter term in your first year after you complete your 4.0 credits. Let's look at an example of a timetable from a humanities social science perspective. This student plans to enter criminology. So as you can see, they have Soc 100, they have Soc 109. They're also taking the political science courses, Paul 111, Paul 112, and they also have a religion course for their humanities credit. So this is an example of what a timetable might look like in the first term. And this is what you're building on the timetable builder because we don't want to enter courses into our enrollment cart that have conflicts. So we have to do this first to make sure there's no conflicts in our timetable. Now we're quite confident of putting these courses into our enrollment cart. And then you're just going to simply wait for the 19th because you've done all the work and you're simply going to click enroll. That moves your course from the enrollment cart into the actual class. Here's the second term. where the student's now taking a second year Soc course because they have the prerequisite from taking Soc 100 and Soc 109 for the first term. So they can take Soc 208 or Soc 210. Here's the English course that the students decided to take in the second term. Now the students completed their Humanities distribution. If we notice, this has 4 courses, so I have room for another course. So if I chose Environment 100, for example, which is an online course, it doesn't show up in my timetable because it's an online course. So I'm only in 4 courses, but I'm really in 5 because it shows me that I'm in the other 4. So that's an example of what it looks like. The other thing I want to point out is when you are on the timetable builder, it's extremely important to check the enrollment controls. Enrollment controls are limit your initial enrollment to students that meet very specific criteria. So this does not mean that you can't enroll in the course at all. It may simply mean that you'll have to try again later. So when you try to enroll in a course and it says enrollment blocked, for example, then I would go back to the timetable, I would click on the enrollment controls, and I would read who gets priority now. So we might be saying, no, you can't enroll. We might be saying not yet. Many of the restrictions are removed on July 26th, so you will be able to actually enroll in the course at a later date. So for example, if I'm in the social crimes major specialist program, then I'm going to get first choice at those 200 levels. If you remember in our previous example, we had 208 and 210. So I can't add that class until late July when the restrictions come off because I am not in the program as of yet. So it didn't say no to me, it said not yet. So this is an example where anytime you have something that says enrollment blocked, I'd go to the timetable builder, I would look at the enrollment controls. So there's always a reason you can't enroll it, and this is where you find the answer. Payment methods. In order to secure your spot in your courses you choose, you have to pay your minimum fees or defer your fees. So the payment options are through your bank or credit card through Acorn, higher ed points. Deferral options are government student loans like OSAP or out of province, or if you're getting a scholarship. So next steps. So choose your courses for both the fall and winter term. Enroll in them as soon as you can because courses fill up quickly. If you find yourself on a waiting list, be patient. You will be automatically moved into the course if there becomes space. If I was number 1 on the waiting list and all of a sudden someone dropped the course, then I'd move automatically in. The Acorn system is going to email me and tell me I'm now in that course. That tells me to do 2 things. Look at my timetable because now it's going to be in my timetable. And I want to make sure I don't have conflicts. The second thing is now it's going to appear in my fees. So I need to make that adjustment and pay the difference. So you could defer or pay your fees. Complete your registration by paying or deferring. So being enrolled in the courses doesn't secure you. Paying your minimum payment or deferring your fees is what secures you. That'll move your status from invite to registered. Then you know you've been successful. Your T-card and U of T accounts. So book a T-card appointment to gain access to U of T student services, including your university email, Wi-Fi access, and more. And the T-card email address is there for you to look at the link. So connect with us. We work out of the office of the registrar, the ticket system called Ask Registrars, where you ask questions. It's how you'll be able to make appointments in future with academic or financial aid. I want to thank you all for joining us today. I'd like to open up the question period at the end. We'll do our best to answer all your questions. I want you guys to realize that this isn't the last session. There's lots of stuff going on in the summer through Eagle Connect, including Ask a Student 101, where you can talk to our wonderful peer leaders. We have several more, but of course, me and Maheen are 2 of them, but there's a lot more. They're also going to have check-in sessions. So although this is the course enrollment workshop, you get to actually join future sessions and just check in with an academic advisor and our team members and make sure that you're on the right track, you're making the right choices for your courses. We'll be able to answer any of your questions. Those sessions are going to happen in July right through into mid to late August. and you can attend more than one of them. So don't feel like, I've already asked, I can't go back. Of course you can. You can always attend future sessions. Um, During the school year, we will have additional sessions like course selection, program selection workshops. We'll be sending you invites to join those as well. It's run jointly again with another collaborative partner at the Office of the Registrar and the Career Center. So we'll be talking about how to enroll, when to enroll, how to qualify, what happens if I don't get into my program. So there are lots of things that we will be talking to you out throughout the term. So now I'd like to open it up to questions in the chat.
Thanks, Ron. There's been a lot of activity in the chat, and Maheen, Nee, and myself have been answering some of the questions in there, but we've also made a note of some of the ones that we wanted to answer in the group so that everyone can hear the answer, because I'm sure a lot of you here have the same question, or maybe you didn't know you had that question and needed the answer to it. So thank you, Colleen. Do I have to have my UTOR ID before the course enrollment day? And what if I don't have it before this day? Thank you. Anyone want to take that?
Well, the easy answer is no, you do not need to have it.
Yeah.
You can definitely wait till you're on campus and then do those things. As long as you have access with your Join ID and you haven't switched over to UTOR, then you can still go into Acorn, add your classes, continue to use your Join ID until you actually switch over to the UTOR ID. At that time, then you would be expected. But as long as you don't change it over first, you can still use your Join ID. It's not a problem.
Yep. Thanks. Thank you, Gwen, for asking that. Melon, I have emailed the academic advisor from my program 5 days ago looking for guidance in course selection, and they have not gotten back to me yet. What would you recommend to do in this scenario? So this is a typical question. Please understand that we have thousands of incoming first-year students, and so program advisors at the departments and program offices, as well as the academic advisors at the registrar's office, are unable to give you a one-on-one appointment to talk to you about program selection. That's why we have these workshops, as well as many ongoing through July and August to help you. As we've mentioned earlier in the presentation, please start by looking at the academic calendar. If you already know what program you're interested in because you reached out to that department, you will see what enrollment requirements there may be for that program. Enrollment requirements will typically list what courses you need to take, or what courses with minimum grades you need, or what overall cumulative grade point average you need to get into that program. So it's a guide to what courses you need to take in your first year in order to be able to apply for that program. That's the first place you're going to look for the information on what courses you need to take. At a minimum, to apply for programs, as Ron has talked about, you need 4.0 credits to be eligible to apply. Information regarding some details with some programs about what those 4.0 credits need to be, as I say, will be in the calendar, but some programs, just to make note, those 4.0 credits, they might stipulate that they need to be taken at UTM, and they need to be taken for a grade specifically. So again, you're going to go to the academic calendar to find this place. That's your first stop to find that information. Then you use the timetable to see, okay, when are those courses offered? How can I build myself a mock timetable and lay those courses out so there's no conflicts? And then you can take those courses once you know the lecture, if there's a tutorial and practicum, so all the elements of that course, you plot it out into the timetable, and then you can take all of that information and put it into your enrollment cart in Acorn. As Ron said, sometimes there's enrollment controls on courses. If there's an enrollment control that you don't fit, you won't be able to add that course into your cart. So you want to make sure you're looking for that information in the timetable builder to indicate, is there an enrollment control that I don't fit? And so then I have to wait for that priority enrollment period to lift. That lifts on July 26th at 6 a.m. At that time, you can then enroll in courses that may have had a priority enrollment indicator on them. I know that's a lot of information, but I hope that answered your question, because I think it's a common one we get. How do I plan?
And also join the Ask a Student one-on-one session and ask those questions. Join the future check-in sessions with us. So that's where you go for your one-on-one. Understand that we have about 16,000 students at UTM and only 7 academic advisors. So as you can see, mathematically, it's not really possible for us to give one-on-one appointments. This is why we have all of these sessions for you guys designed specifically for you throughout the entire summer. So please, you use the one-on-one student sign up. Go to the check-in sessions because we're having several of them. So you'll have lots of opportunity to talk to someone. It just won't be with an advisor one-on-one for that reason.
Sarah says, what happens if I have to use both OSAP and my own money? Um, if your minimum payment, if you're OSAP, if you're receiving OSAP and it's greater than $0, then you can defer your tuition by saying you're receiving OSAP as long as you have an assessment, as I say, that's receiving greater than $0. So you defer your fees by that deadline of August 16th. And then if you can make a payment with your own money, then make that payment. But to be clear, we are not financial aid advisors, so I'm always careful to answer these kinds of questions. I don't know, Ron, if you want to chime in on any of that.
Well, what I would say is if you're getting any OSAP, you get to defer. So you're not responsible for a minimum payment. Deferring your fees is going to register you. Then what happens? Well, you would have a balance on your account. So you'll be charged 1.5% on any outstanding balance beginning on October 15th. So you don't have to make a payment, but the interest is going to start on the outstanding balance. So I would say to you, try to pay as much as you can so you can minimize the interest, but you can carry it over even into next term. As long as you complete and pay all your fees by the end of the year, you can enter the next session.
Tash says, Acorn says there's no fees as of right now. How do you know when you have to pay? Invoices are generated generally in the middle of July. I don't know exactly what date it will be this year, but all students will have an invoice generated. Since you're first year students and you're not enrolling in courses until July 19th, don't worry about it just yet. Once you're enrolled in courses, you'll see your invoice. And again, that minimum payment will show on your invoice, and that's what's due August 16th. You can look at the fee schedule if you want to get an idea of what to expect. You'll see what it is the charge per half credit, depending on what type of student you are, if you're domestic Ontario, domestic non-Ontario, or international. And then you'll see your incidental fees if you're part-time or full-time. Again, Ron said earlier, part-time is 2.5 credits or less, full-time is 3.0 credits or more. So you can get a guide by looking at the fee schedule, but you won't see your invoice until mid to third week of July.
I don't know if they've decided the actual date just yet,
Yeah.
but it will appear on the important dates and it'll say something like first day student fees are uploaded to student accounts. Then you know it's there. But if you log in your dashboard on Acorn and you look at your financial record right there, you'll be able to see if and when it's there. It's definitely going to be before the 16th of August because that's the minimum payment. So it definitely will be probably the third or fourth week of July is when you would start to see that, in my opinion.
Millen, what does enrollment blocked mean? Can I still put them in my calendar? Excuse me. Enrollment blocked means there's an enrollment control, or right now, I mean, it's just to clarify, if you're trying to add courses on Acorn right now and you're a first year student, you will be blocked. You do not have access to adding courses in terms of enrolling in courses. If you're getting feedback that there's an issue in terms of an enrollment control, that could be that you don't fit the enrollment control for that course, such as there's priorities given to students in certain programs, or perhaps there's priorities given to students in certain admission categories as first year students. That will typically be the case if you're trying to choose a 100 level course, you're a first year student, but it's not a course that your admission category is given priority for.
I think an example of that might be the Math 133. We're admitted to social sciences, but I would like to do a eco or commerce or business stream program, then I would never have access to 133 math. I would have to do 135 and 136 because the enrollment control on Math 133 only allows students who are admitted to commerce and business to actually take the 133. So again, Kate's explanation of checking the enrollment control is 100% the right thing to do. If it's saying no to you, there's a reason, and that is definitely where you can go and check that.
Nandipa, is there transition time between classes and tutorials? Or for instance, if you plan a tutorial back to back with a class, does it start right on the dot? Great question. This is a common one because you're new to U of T and you don't know this. So heads up, classes start at 10 minutes after the hour. So there's always time for you to get from one class to another. At the UTM campus, our buildings are fairly close to each other, so you should have time to get from one building to your next class if it's in a different building. If you want more than 10 minutes, if you know, that doesn't work for me, or that's lunchtime, I want to break, then keep that in mind. But they don't go back to back to back like that. There's always a 10 minutes after the hour that classes start.
So never on the dot.
Never on the dot. Zane, is there a maximum number of programs you can apply to after first year? Thank you for asking this question. No, you can apply for as many as you like. You can only be actively enrolled in 3, so there is a limit in that regard. And if you choose to do 3, one of them has to be a minor. But you can apply for as many as you like. And if you are eligible, if there's enrollment requirements for those programs, I encourage you to apply for as many as you wish, because then if you get invited for several of them, then you can choose, what's my real preference.
The only exception to that, I would say, is commerce. You should only apply for one specialist commerce program. It is very easy to change from, say, accounting specialist into finance specialist. So you can change that through the department later on, but in actual initial requests for program enrollment, commerce asks that you only apply for one of the specialists, not more than one. But like Kate said, there's no limit in terms of the number of enrollments. You could do it.
Parijat, July 19th is the date for course selection, right? What does July 14th view date mean? Thank you for asking. Yes, first year students, your start date for enrolling in courses is July 19th at your assigned start time. July 14th is the day that you can go on Acorn and view what your start time is going to be on July 19th. It's really important that you go on Acorn and view your start time before July 19th, because on July 19th, you will not be able to access Acorn until your start time. So make sure, whether it's July 14th or July 18th, at some point in there, you check on Acorn to see what time is it that I log in on the 19th to start enrolling in courses.
So if you do try to enroll before your start time, the system will lock you out. And that means that you would have to contact the registrar's office to get access back to Acorn. That's not going to be a very pleasant experience because it's going to be very, very busy during that time. So really what Kate's saying is, let's do a little bit of homework here and let's know before the 19th what day and time I start my enrollment. And you can look at that between, like Kate said, between the 14th and the 18th of July, because then you know you're prepared. You've done all the work. You have all of this done in your timetable builder. You know you don't have any conflicts, and you're simply waiting to click enroll at your proper start time on the 19th. So that's really what we're going on about here.
And to keep in mind, this is all times based on Toronto Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in a different time zone, make sure you set your clock to our time so you're not ahead or behind.
Good point.
Yeah. Tash asks, under Timetable Builder, what do we put under session required? I'm unclear as to what you mean, but we do talk about the fall winter as a session, but I think you might be asking, is this as a first term or a second term? So first term would end in a code F and second term would end in a code S. Does anyone have an idea what Tash is asking
Um,
specifically?
I think the resolution to this question is put fall 2023, winter 2024, and also fall winter 2024 for any year-long courses if there are
Mm.
any.
Oh, in the drop-down menu. I think
Yeah,
that's where they're talking. Yeah, just pick F,
Oh,
S, and Y. Pick all of them so you get all the courses. Because if you only
right.
pick F, you're only getting
Yeah,
courses
yeah, yeah,
offered in the first term. And we're trying to build our timetable for fall and winter.
yeah.
So I would include everything. Okay, Tash? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. If you click the top radio button for fall winter, it'll bring up all of the sessions, F, S, and Y. Knit tricks. Hi, my name is Elvis. Are the assignments or feedbacks from the teachers posted on Quercus? I would love our peer leaders to answer this one, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So the assignments and feedbacks are listed under Quercus, and the feedback that you receive is also on Quercus. So usually the professor will give you a mark, and then there will be a comment section, and they will leave either a general feedback for that, or sometimes some TAs when they mark your papers, they will leave like comments on the document on the side that oh, this is what you needed to improve on, or this is what you did, like what you needed to add. And yeah, I think if me has a different experience or wants to add to that.
I think Quarkus is very important since this is the main communications between you and the professor, since it's a very big class. And also a good chance to practice with Quarkus is to be enrolled in and participate in the Eagle Connect program because it is being done through Quarkus. So it gives you a chance to be familiar with the platform before the September 6th when university starts.
Practice makes perfect, I think, in this case, for sure. But generally, students have about 30 days after they get their assignment back with the grade to question or get reflection from the professor. So if you want them to re-look at a piece of work and regrade it, you have about 30 days after getting the initial grade back to like start that process.
Giselle asks, do I have to enroll my tutorials separately, or does Acorn automatically enroll me with the related lectures? Thanks. Thank you so much for asking this question. This is a common one that students think if I enroll in a lecture, everything else falls into place. No, you must add the lecture, and if any given course has a tutorial and or a practicum, you must add yourself into those. It's important to note that if you are waitlisted in a lecture, should that happen, you are not yet able to add any tutorials or practicals if that given course has such an element, because you're not yet in the course until you're in the lecture. So you need to make sure you're looking, when you look in the timetable builder, that you're looking at all aspects for that course. Does it have a lecture? Of course it has a lecture. Does it have a tutorial and a practicum? Selecting those and making sure, again, that you've added these courses into your enrollment cart on Acorn, all of the elements of the course, so that you just click enroll on your start time on the 19th. So
And
thank
I
you for
think
asking that question.
yeah, and also I just wanted to elaborate on that too. If I get into the course from the waiting list, for example, then I've been enrolled into the lecture. Now I need to go back in and add my tutorial or practicum session. So you would have to go back. You know, we don't want you guys to drop the course and try to re-add it, or you're going to go to the end of the waiting list. It's really important if you have to go back. Say you're even in the tutorial, but I want to change it. Now I need to go back and select manage, select the new one, and click update. And then it'll change you from one section to the other and secure your spot in the lecture. So we don't want to drop to add or change. We want to manage, change it, and update. So it's really important. And there are some professors that don't open your tutorial section till after the class begins. Then you will be doing it later. So that happens sometimes.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, because often students think I put it in my enrollment cart, I waitlisted into it, so the Acorn will understand, take my courses from my enrollment cart, from my tutorials and practicums, and add me. That doesn't happen. So be mindful if you do get in off a wait list, you'll get an email notification, then go in and do it. Add yourself.
Yep.
Parijat. In Acorn, what does the request program function in Degree Explorer for? I'm going into first year, so I was confused regarding that function. Thank you for asking. Programs, requesting programs, when you look at that on Acorn, first year students are not yet requesting programs. I know when you applied to UTM, you were asked what programs are you interested in, and you said what majors or specialists you're interested in, but you enter as a first year student in an admission category, not yet in programs. So you're not requesting programs yet. Your goal in first year is to take, there's many goals, but if you're thinking about what program you want, first year is your time to take the courses that are required for entry into that program. And then at the end of first year, so in March next year, that's when you'll be requesting programs. That's when you would go on Acorn under academics, under enroll and manage, and then click on programs and start adding or requesting the programs that you want. So I hope that clarifies what you're indicating there.
So in Degree Explorer, in your planning tool, you can add potential programs. They'll show up as what we call potential. If you were in course programs, they would show up as active. So the Degree Explorer planning tool allows you to put in hypothetical programs, even the ones you want to join that I'm not in yet. So yes, you would be able to add, but those are just hypothetical programs because you're not really applying and you're not really entering until the selection period at the end of first year. But yes, in the Degree Explorer function, you can put in potential programs. It's actually really helpful because then you can put it in and say, okay, well, this is what I would need to finish the rest of my program. It really helps you for program planning and course selection for the future terms.
Thanks, Ron. It's one of my favorite tools.
Yeah, me too.
Shivani asks, hi there, I'm going into my first year of university. I'm struggling in finding my courses for my criminology program. Would I head over to the UTM academic calendar to find those courses? Yes, absolutely. For criminology, you're going to see for the major or the specialist, you're going to see the requirements, including Social 100 and Social 109. You'll see a little bit of variance in terms of if I don't get a certain grade in Social 100, what do I need to enter into the program? But Social 100 and Social 109, 100 is definitely an entry requirement, but Social 109 is also a completion requirement. So you should be taking Social 100 in the fall and Social 109 in the winter. That's only 2 courses that we talked about, 1.0 credits. So there's other things that you want to consider. And if one of our peer leaders, which one of you's in
Well, I wanted
criminology?
to say in
Yeah,
crime, you need 100, 109, and you have to also now do, as of this year, ISP
ISP
100.
100.
It's actually a
Thank you.
requirement. So in our example that I showed you, the timetable example, we were taking 100 Soc, 109 Soc in the first term, and in the second term, I would do ISP 100 and 200 level Soc courses. But you can't add the 200 level Soc courses until July 26th. So keep that in mind. So for social and crime, there's 4 courses you can't touch until you're in the program. That's 205, 221, 222, and 231. You'll be able to do those in your second year once you enter the program. But I think for now, social and crime students should be taking Social 100 and trying to get 67 or higher, take Social 109 to get 70% or higher, and finish ISP. So that's really what you need. And then you fill in the rest of your courses with your electives or distribution. Think about those things.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah. Good question, though.
Tash asks, for first year, can you only take 100 and 200 courses? Great question. We do recommend that you focus on 100 level courses. These are entry courses. It's your first year at university. There's a lot of transition already that you're dealing with. While there are 200 level courses that you can take that don't have prerequisites at the 100 level, you want to consider those carefully. And I would ask our peer leaders if you want to chime in on that, if you did that, or how you feel about that, or your experience.
Yeah, sure. I believe for Psych 201 doesn't have a prerequisite. However, it is recommended to take it in the second year. And I considered taking it in my first year. However, considering the course load and the content, I realized I would be better off taking it in my second year. So I do believe that the courses are like recommended in a way that best fits the students' like level of study. And personally, I usually took courses that were offered for first years in my first year, and then courses that were offered for second year and upper years, according to the like uh, the years they were prescribed for. In my fourth year, I have taken like third year courses, but obviously that is possible, and you can take different courses if you're not like in your upper years. You can still take third year courses. So yeah, that was my experience with it. If Neil
That's
wants
a
to
really
add to
good
that.
point. I
Yeah.
also have had that question asked to me as an advisor. Here's the thing. If I'm a first year student and I want to take, say, a 300 level women's genders course because it doesn't have a prerequisite and technically I could take it, here's the problem. Your professor is going to look at you as a third year student and grade you accordingly. So if I'm a first year student, take a 300 level course, I would say I haven't developed my writing skills enough to take a 300 level course. Yes, you might pass, but probably with 50 something, right? So I would rather, it's okay to take a second year course that doesn't have a prereq because there are some second year courses that are introductory in nature. And those would be things like in history, women's gender studies, history of religion. There are some examples. If you're going to do first year courses in philosophy, for example, then you could take as a co-requisite the 200 levels. So in those cases, yes. But I like what Mahim was talking about in terms of being an upper year student. Then I can straddle year 2, year 3, year 4. Like you could play around then. But in first year, really don't take anything higher than a 200 level for sure. And definitely don't take any downtown or Scarborough courses until you're in your second year. Yes, they're available to you, but you're a UTM student, and in first year, you should be taking your UTM courses. In the upper years, if you want to experiment with some downtown courses and their electives, by all means take them. But any course you take downtown for a program requirement, you're going to have to ask permission of your undergraduate advisors. For example, if I was wanting to take a political science course downtown and count it for my UTM program here, I would probably have to ask the undergraduate advisor of political science if I could do that before I went ahead and enrolled in the course. So yeah, really good point, Maheen, about straddling years of study. When we get into year 2, 3, and 4, it's much more common and it's much more acceptable. And you guys will have developed the skills by then, so it would be quite normal to do that. In first year, first and second is what I would recommend we stick to.
Mm, thank you. So Yun, is taking tutorials compulsory? If the course has a tutorial as part of the elements, then yes, it's compulsory. You must attend the tutorials. I have been asked this question. Tutorials are there for you to have the teaching assistant generally be the person who's leading it and helping you, but there may be other points of possibly assessment for that course within the tutorial. So you don't want to miss out on that. And it's there to support you. If our peer leaders, if you would like to chime in on that, please do.
I think tutorials are very important because it is a smaller learning space and you can uh, ask more questions to the TA, whereas professor has to run a class with 100, 200 students, and it's hard to like address all of the questions. And also, attending tutorials will have always prepared me well for tests because the TA will go over practice questions, reviewing any key concepts before the test, and I think showing up to class and even lectures is very important in academic success.
Thanks. Ava, hello. My awards, 2 of financial value, entrance scholarships, are not visible under Acorn. Will they be added once Acorn is updated? Thank you. Um, Ron, if you want to answer this, because as far as I understand, it comes in September. It doesn't come in right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I would say if you can afford to pay your minimum payment, I would do that. And then the entrance scholarships will be added to your student account and make credits. The other situation where you might actually investigate is to maybe ask for a financial aid appointment and you might have to be able to prove through documentation that you actually got these scholarships and they're coming, and they may actually defer your fees based on the fact that you've given them proof of scholarship. So you could do that. I know when we get later in the summer, you could probably do it through the proof of payment. But I would probably right now, if you have proof that you have those scholarships coming, I'd probably touch base with a financial aid advisor and ask for a deferral, and they will do a manual one for you. That way you're not responsible for your minimum payment because you've shown them proof of your scholarships. That's a great question. So anyone who's getting a U of T entrance scholarship, those usually get applied to your student account in mid to late September or early October. We can't overload the system, so we don't download them all at once. They are staggered over a period of a couple weeks. But if you already know you're getting the scholarship and you have proof of that, I would reach out to our financial aid team now and ask for a deferral, and they would do a manual deferral for you. So yes, great question.
I just put the link in the chat to indicate the page that you can find information on this. This is probably also on the course enrollment workbook, but again, just how to request to defer your fees based on a scholarship. Marie-José, how would you go about paying for OSAP on Acorn? Where would I go to make that specific payment? Again, you're going to, if you're receiving OSAP, if you've been assessed as receiving greater than $0 for your OSAP, then you go on Acorn and you defer your tuition based on being an OSAP recipient. So you have that period of time where you have to make that deferral by August 16th, and then you have to make your minimum payment once your OSAP comes into your account and pays for your fees. If I've got that correct. Again, I'm not a financial aid advisor. So you're not touching your OSAP, so to speak. You're deferring your fees based on being assessed as receiving greater than $0. You defer your fees, and then in September, once we see that you're registered and you're enrolled as a full-time student, then your OSAP comes in before the deadline to make the minimum payment, so that covers off. It should cover off your full fees. Parijat, I am extremely confused when selecting courses because this is a general social science year and it's confusing to figure out which courses to select. How do I make that easier for myself? Who would like to address this?
Quite normal to be, I was admitted to social sciences as well. So when we're admitted to social sciences, we're not told which courses to take at all. We have to look for 5.0 credits out of interest. So for me, I had an idea I might wanted to do crime. So I looked and I took Soc 100. I took Soc 109. I did the courses that are associated with the program I think I might want to do. Then I also had an idea, well, I really don't know any other programs. So I tried political science. I tried a history course. I tried an environment course. So it is a feeling out process until you figure out, probably by the end of your second year, what your programs are going to be. It's quite normal not to know. So as much as we're filled with a bit of anxiety because we're like, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to select? This is your opportunity to try a whole bunch of different things. So if we have to do one science, one social science, and one humanities, then I definitely would take Soc 100, Soc 109. I'd try a first half, second half philosophy. Then there is my humanities credit. Then, I just need to make sure you're doing 4.0 credits because you want to be able to enter your program at the end of the first year. So if you did the Environment 100 course, then that's your science credit. Then you did philosophy 103 and 113. There's your humanities credit. Then you did a first half, second half Soc, a first half, second half Paul, the ISP, and an elective course. There's your 5.0. So no one's going to tell you what to take. So this is the thing. So many times students ask for one-on-one appointments with Kate and I, and what's their question is, tell me what to take. That is not academic advising. We're not going to tell you because we can't pick your courses. We can't pick your programs. What I'd say is look in the academic calendar. Remember in the presentation, I'm saying explore. That word explore is right here. It means look at the 180 programs. Look at the types of courses. Read in the academic calendar what the course is about. I want my students to take something that they find interesting. We are generally going to do way better at courses we want to take than courses we have to take. Now, we sometimes don't have a choice. If I'm coming here and someone says, look, you want to go to Echo, then you have no choice. You're taking Echo 101, Echo 102, Math 135, Math 136. Now I've got 3.0 credits left. So I would say, fine, I need to find a humanities credit, and then I might pair that with political science because economics and political science go extremely well together. In fact, we can do a double major in those, a combination of major, minor, specialist, or we have a combined specialist in eco and political science. So there's lots of flexibility. Never feel stuck in what you think you're going to do for a program because we can definitely change. And we will have sessions throughout the year on choosing your program selection workshop, for example. We will have sessions designed specifically for those students who wanted to enter their program and didn't quite make it. Maybe I didn't get a high enough CGPA, or maybe I didn't get the required minimum grade. We will have sessions on those so that we can talk about what you need to do to qualify or to look at some alternative subject post options or a different pathway of how you might go about completing programs. So never feel stuck. No one's going to tell you what to take. It's for you to explore and think about what I might do. And there's times I've taken a course and I'm like, that's not what I wanted to take. So I'm not taking it anymore. I've changed. I tried something new. I think I have 8 different disciplines on my transcript because when I came here, I came from Carleton where I was studying music. Well, we don't have music. So I didn't know what to take. So I tried a variety of different courses. Maybe Nee can talk about how you would explore other options. Maybe give us an example of something you took that you wanted to try just to see what it was like.
Yep. Yeah, I also took a lot of courses across different disciplines. I've taken management for my programs. I've taken economics just to see what it's like. I've taken French as humanities distribution, and also as I plan to do a minor in French, but then found out it wasn't for me. I also took a course in writing 173, a creative nonfiction writing courses. Yep. Yeah, I think that was a lot. I took stats and found out I liked stats, so I did even more courses in stat. So yeah, just explore the courses, and there's a lot of varieties there, and you may find something new and have like eye opening, and then you decide to do a program in it that was like a minor.
Exactly. And, talking to Ask a Student 101, those are other peer leaders. You're going to get some experiences from all different types of students from many different backgrounds. Some did CCT, some did business, some did psychology, some did life sciences. So I think that's where you learn to explore and ask questions and get some advice, not from Kate and myself, but from other students who had to explore and do the same thing. It just gives you the encouragement and the incentive and we want you guys to try new things.
Yeah, I'll just add to sort of reiterate in the presentation on those food for thought slides that when you're not sure, like you're undecided, I encourage you to do a UTM 1 course. Particularly the UTM 118 is the science of learning, and well, that's what you're here at university to do, is to learn how to learn, which is an invaluable tool. And then some sort of writing course, I think, is always a good foundational course for whatever you do in programs or beyond your undergrad. So a common one that'll be for some of you for program entry is that ISP 100, which is writing for university and beyond. Just an example of a writing course. So those are 2 things that I would give as a tip, but really think about what are you interested in? What did you do in high school that you don't think I could do as a program, but I still find really curious, like cinema studies, or there's just such a variety. So explore. Yeah.
English 100 is another good example
Mm-hmm.
of how to learn
Mm-hmm.
to write better. We're all going to have to write essays. We have no choice, guys. So learning how to write better, taking advantage of the services we offer that, like through the Robert Gillespie Academic Skills Center, through the Writing Lab, to sign up for their sessions on test taking, note taking, essay writing, time management. We have time to improve our skills. And, we're not born with these skills. We develop them over time. So as much as we're exploring and trying new things, we're also building our skills at the same time. So hopefully that helps you be a little bit more calm. Just explore. You're not going to make the wrong decision. If you pick a course and it ends up not being that great, then you're not going to take that type of course in the future. You're going to change and do something else. So it really is a trial and error in your first 2 years until you figure out, what programs you actually want. If after first year you found one program, perfect. That's victory. Now I can look at adding to that and look at other possible minors. And speaking with an advisor during your first year or by the end of your first year, after going to the program selection workshop, we can really say, look, you've taken these courses. Do you realize they can count in this program as well? This is how our knowledge is going to help you later.
Great. Sam says, are most classes done all digitally, or do professors still do paper assignments? Oh, peer leaders, please chime in on this.
That's a total Maheen and me question for sure.
In my experience, most of my assignments have been digital. The only assignment that I can remember was that was in like on material, I guess you can say, was in my cognitive psych course, and we had to build a toy for kids that would kind of help them develop their cognitive skills. And I think in my 4 years that was the only course that I had to make something physically. Yeah.
I also have the same experience. The only assessment that I do on papers are midterms and exams. Other than that, it's all done online. Not online, but submitted online through Quarkus.
Thanks. I think, one area of study that comes to mind, obviously, is the fine art studio courses.
Yeah.
Studio courses could be painting or photography or things like that. So that will not necessarily be digital.
Yeah.
Matthew, my name is Matthew. Thank you. For the program level slide of 1, 2, and 3, how does taking one other than the other affect you? When you said program level, Matthew, I'm not sure if you're referring to concentration, where we talk about specialists, majors, and minors, or if you're talking about types of programs, type 1s, 2s, and 3s.
I think that.
Yeah, I think so too. So type 1s are programs that are don't have specific enrollment requirements, so there's no specific courses or grades or cumulative GPA that's required. These are referred to as auto-enrollment. So once you're on track to completing 4 credits, that's a program that you can go on to Acorn, again under the academics menu, under Enroll and Manage, choose programs, and you can start typing what that keyword is and just automatically enroll in it. So they're immediately active. Type 2s and 3s are programs that are limited and have specific enrollment requirements. So those are perhaps courses and grades or minimum CGPAs that you must complete in order to be eligible to be considered for those programs. The main difference between type 2s and 3s is that with type 2s, if you meet those entry requirements or enrollment requirements listed in the calendar, can you see me?
Yep.
If you meet the enrollment requirements listed in the academic calendar and you've requested that program, you'll be invited. Type 3s, however, meeting the enrollment requirements listed in the calendar does not guarantee admission because in addition to having specific requirements that must be met to apply and be considered, they have limited number of spots in those programs. So now you're competing against other applicants and what are the strength of their grades. So that's perhaps answering your question. I hope it is. So type 3's examples are commerce or computer science or communication, culture, information technology. These are competitive programs with limited number of spots. So meeting the requirements that are listed in the calendar does not guarantee admission into the program. So you want to have perhaps a backup plan if you don't meet that cutoff that year and you still perhaps want to pursue that area of study, but maybe in a different way.
And keep in mind, there's a difference between entering a type 1 or a type 2, type 3, because type 2 and type 3, you have to request during the subject post-selection period and then be invited before you can accept it and become active. Whereas type 1, like Kate sent, is auto-enrollment. Happens because there's no requirements. No one has to approve you. You just say, I want this, you add it, and you're in. But type 2, type 3 is a bit different in terms that you have to do it during the subject post period and you have to accept during the acceptance period. So those things are 2 specific differences. So hopefully that answers your question, Matthew.
Yeah. And this is not the last time you're going to hear us talk about program selection. As Ron said, we have program selection workshops in the fall, and we do them in the winter term as well to set you up as a first-year student to understand, okay, what do I need to do? How do I do it? When do I do it? So not to worry. We got you covered. Teresa asks, if I want to take a specialist program, can I apply in my second year, or do I have to take a major first and apply later? Thanks. This is a great question, Teresa, because my answer will depend on what program you're thinking of. Some specialists are not eligible to be entered after first year, or it might say in the calendar after 4 credits. It might say, as an example, a psychology specialist or a neuroscience specialist that I often get questions about. Those are programs that you cannot enter until after 8 credits or after your second year. So typically a student must have a backup plan after first year to choose, say, a double major. Again, in the example I'm giving, I would say a student who wants to pursue neuroscience, I might suggest apply for the psychology major and the biology major after first year, because there's a lot of overlapping courses that are going to be needed for a neuroscience specialist that you must be completing 200 level courses in your second year to then apply after your second year. So
Think of it
again,
as a stepping stone, basically.
yeah. Again, there might be situations where you're talking about a specialist that you can apply to after first year. This information is in the calendar, and with 180 programs, I can't give you a definitive answer. That's why I'm trying to clarify what the differences could be and where you'll find that information. Anupama. If I'm in social sciences, but I want to major in biology and health sciences or another science major, can I take prerequisite courses in my first year for that major? Very good question. This will depend on what you've done in high school. If you were admitted to social sciences, it may mean that if you had wanted to pursue a life science program and let's say you applied and were refused, you may have not taken the required high school for you university level courses required, such as the SBI in Ontario, we call it 4U for biology. That's the grade 12 equivalent university biology. Or perhaps you didn't do advanced functions, again, at the grade 12 university level. Or you didn't achieve the minimum grades required to be considered for a life science admission category, or say psychology year 1 admission category. These are examples I'm giving you. If you want to pursue biology for health sciences as an example, you will have to show proof that you now have the grade 12 or 4U level biology. You will have to show that you have, again, the grade 12 4U equivalent of advanced functions and relations. If you need to take chemistry at the 100 level, which is very typical to pursue most of the biology 200 level courses that are going to be required for biology for health sciences, you also need to show that you have the grade 12 4U equivalent for chemistry. So these are things that students can pick up and then pursue those courses later. But to do the required courses for biology for health sciences is a Bio 152, Bio 153. You are going to have that high school 4U biology course before you can take those courses. Does anyone
Great
want to
question.
add to that? Because this is a common one I
That's
get.
pretty good.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Samantha asks, should I be enrolling in more than my desired amount of courses to ensure I have the minimum amount? And then should I drop any extra courses? This is a great strategy, Samantha. During your enrollment period that starts on the 19th and up until the 25th, students can enroll in a maximum of 5.0 credits over the fall winter, 5 courses fall, 5 courses winter. If you actually want to do less and want to do 4, this is a way to strategize what courses do I really want to do. Being mindful of the important dates to drop the course or courses that you actually don't want to take if you're still deciding. There's a period of time where you could drop courses in the first week of class and not be penalized financially, but you really want to be mindful of those dates. There is also something to note that in that course credit limit of 5.0 during that period of time, anything that you're waitlisted in counts towards those 5.0 credits. So sometimes a student is like, well, I'll enroll in 4 and waitlist 1, but I really want that waitlisted course. So just consider that's part of the 5.0 credits. after July 25th, so as of July 26th at 6 a.m., students can enroll in a further 1.0 credit over the fall winter for a total of 6.0. I don't encourage doing actually 6 courses as a first year student in the fall winter. I don't recommend you pursue 6.0 credits, but it can be a strategy to say, I want to try out this course and then decide I'm going to narrow it down to 4 courses, but in that first week of class, or once I get to see the course syllabi, then I'll determine which courses do I really want. Always keeping in mind your priority as a first year student is to take those courses that are required for program entry if you know what program you want to pursue. So those are first and foremost what you want to focus on.
And finish 4 minimum
And finish 4
with
minimum.
grades.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great strategy. Like you said, you do have till September 21st to add, remove, change, or delete courses. So it's okay to be in 6.0 because by the 21st you're going back to 5.0 or 4.0. That's acceptable. I think it's a really good strategy, especially if you're sitting on a waiting list for a course you really want. What happens if I don't get the waiting list course? Then I'm going to choose an alternative I could live with. It might not be my first choice, but at least you have to the 21st to actually get into the course you want, and you can still drop the ones you didn't particularly want to be in.
And just to add to that, your winter course enrollment, you have until January, what's the date? 20 something to change your course enrollment for winter. So there's a lot of time to make adjustments for your winter schedule if that becomes, something that you're concerned about. You don't have to have it all locked down on July 19th or by class start time, right?
You have till January 21st for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. They're really good questions, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure there's other students wanting the answers to those questions. Sama asks, what happens if the classes that you sign up for are full or denied? Do you get a chance to sign up for different classes after? Great question. Again, going back to the waitlist issue, if it's full and it's a course that you need for program, put yourself on the waitlist. You can be waitlisted in multiple lecture sections. So that's another way to strategize. If you look at how long is the waitlist, is my rank going to be a smaller number on this lecture section versus this other lecture section? Keeping in mind you shouldn't be ending up in a conflict should you get into that lecture section, always avoiding conflicts, but that can be a strategy. In terms of denied, if the wait lists close and you didn't get in off the wait list, then understand this. Wait lists close on the 21st of September for F&Y courses, first term and full year courses, correct? I've got that date right?
Yep.
That is also the last day to add courses. So you won't know if you got in off the wait list till the 22nd. So if you're very high on a wait list on the 21st of September, you should probably give up on that course. And if there's another course you want to add, drop yourself from the wait list and add yourself into another course that has space, of course.
Yeah, and one more point about waitlisted courses. You cannot be in a lecture section and then be on the waiting list for a different section. If you were to change it, you would be removed from the lecture you're in and put on the waiting list for the other one. So I would only change lectures if there's space in it. If there's not, then live with the lecture you have, because if you can't join the waiting list for the same course when you're already in one of the lecture sections. So that's really important to know.
Yeah, thanks for that, because you can't sit on 2 sections.
Correct. Well, you can sit on more than one waiting list section.
Yeah.
But once you get into one, you get removed from the waiting list on the other sections, and you'll go to the end. Yeah. So only add the section lecture that you could live with, because if you get in, you can't change otherwise, unless you're spaced. Yeah.
And Peter asks, how can I find which electives I am eligible for or are available to my program after selecting all my mandatory courses? Great question, Peter. We do have a list for a sort of guide. It's not by any means a complete list for looking at distribution requirements, which sometimes students call electives. So electives aren't part of your program. So I'll put this in the chat. I think I put it in the chat earlier. 1 second, my apologies. And you can also actually just look at this in the timetable builder and sort. You can filter by distribution requirements if you wish to do that. That's another way to find electives. So again, I'll just put this link in our chat for distribution requirements. This tells you the rough areas of study that fall under humanities, social sciences, and sciences, and gives you some course code options. Keep in mind, check the timetable for when those courses are offered and if there's any prereqs. An example could be SIN 102 offered in the winter term, but you need to take SIN 101 in the fall. So if you didn't do that, then you can't take SIN 102 in the winter because you don't have the prereq. Parijat asks, will this be available for access in the future like the recording? Yes. Our producer here in the background, Colleen, has let us know this will be shared with any of the participants who attended today. So you'll have these slides in this recording for you to review. But, we're doing more of these and you can come to more check-ins that we're doing throughout this month. All of that information is in your Eagle Connect.
So I recognized one of the chat questions where someone was asking, can I make changes after my enrollment date? Yeah, you can make changes right up till September 21st. You could change, delete, switch sections all the way up to September 21st. So yes, you can switch. You don't feel stuck. And yes, you select your programs at the end of your winter term. You'll probably make your program selections in March, April for May admission. And keep in mind, we are going to be running course enrollment workshops, program selection workshops, jointly with our Career Center partners. And you will be invited to those probably sometime in October, November, and we'll do it again in probably February, March. So look for those because you will get invites to those program selections. It's just great knowledge on how to do things, when to do things, and what happens when I graduate. What can I do with my degree? So the career advisor is going to be there to talk about careers, jobs, postgraduate opportunities as well.
Yeah. I just want to recognize our time, and although we've gone past the scheduled time, we are more than happy to continue answering questions. So if you want to stick around, we'll continue until, I think, noon to try to answer your questions, because I still see there's a lot to be addressed.
Yeah.
LS asks, can you take more than one UTM 1 foundation course? And that's a no, if I'm correct.
One.
Choose one. Choose wisely.
I think there's only one S-term course, and it's for sciences. I think all the rest of the UTM ones are F-term courses only, and you can only take one of them.
Yeah, I know 118 is offered in both.
Okay, so you could take one launch course and one UTM course, but you can't take two of the launch or two of the UTM one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nathan asks, I'm having trouble gaining full access to my Acorn account. How do I convert my Join ID to a UTOR ID? Does anyone want to answer that one?
You will probably ask me to do that one, Amy. You're on mute.
You're muted.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna put a link to the step by step.
Okay. Yep.
To get your T card designed by the IT and department at UTM, and it will show you how to convert your join ID to UTOR ID, how to obtain your UT mail, and also how to pick up your T card.
So it'd be step-by-step instructions.
Yes.
Yep,
thank you, Nee. Charles asks, is there a specific date we can expect to hear about acceptance into the UTM 1 Scholars Program? I think this information is in the timetable. Does anyone know this off the top of their head?
Well, it might be different because UTM 1 scholars get automatic enrollment. The department puts you in, and then they put you in interim status. So once they review whether you were qualified to be in the UTM 1 scholars program, then they will approve you. Then it'll appear in your timetable. Then you'll get charged. That could be different for each person because you don't all get into the course at the same time. So they would be staggerly doing those approvals. Just keep looking. Interim means you're in it. It's only if it changes to refuse. So you wouldn't be in it. So as long as you meet the qualifications, the department will eventually approve you and it'll go to approved status.
Yeah, I'll just put a link in here. Sorry, I'm just trying to grab a link from their page, their URL, where you can find a link to their FAQs. as well as their contact information. But I would advise you to read their FAQs before you start contacting them.
Yep.
Thank you, Jarl. Luca, I have been accepted to social science as an alternative course. What do I have to do to be able to get into forensic science major? Great question, Luca. First, I refer you to the academic calendar to see what the requirements are to enter into forensic science major. You're going to have to take FSC 239, that's a Y course. There's no high school prerequisite to take that course, but the other courses that are going to be required will have specific high school requirements. Again, the grade 12 for university level or equivalent for likely biology, chemistry, and advanced functions and relations. So since you were given an alternate admission offer of social science, this may mean you didn't have those high school requirements or your grades didn't meet the cutoff. So you want to be mindful of that. If you
So
don't have the
also,
high school, go ahead.
forensic science needs 70% minimum. You need 65% in both chemistry 110 and 120. You need to pass your calculus, and you need a 2.70 CGPA. So this program requires you finish at least 3.0 science credits, which you will do by doing chemistry, calculus, and forensics.
Yeah, but if
And
you
of
don't
course,
have the high school prereqs, you'll have an issue with taking those 100 level courses. So
correct. Yeah, still have to have a high school prereqs.
yeah. The financial moment. I am on the academic calendar, but I don't see CCT as an option. What should I do? Communication, culture, information, and technology is what CCIT is standing for. So I'm not sure where you're looking, but if we go to the academic calendar,
There's the link in the chat.
thank
That's to
you.
CCT.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So you'll see all the programs that are offered by the ICCIT program office. Christina, I have submitted 2 AP courses report card during application. Do we need to apply for the transfer credits and how, or are they automatically assessed? If you submitted your AP results, they're automatically assessed. If you're eligible, they'll be on your record. You'll see them on Acorn. You'll see them on Degree Explorer. They don't get loaded immediately, so give it some time for our admissions team to assess that. If you're not sure if you've met the requirements, let me see if I can find the link to that, unless anyone else has it handy
So you should
for.
know that what you got credit for. You'd be sent an email telling you what you got credit for. So for example, if you were given the AP bio, those would be generic bios. So you can still do our bio 152, 153 and get your AP credit. Because remember, you want to prepare for upper year courses in bio. And I have a lot of students that got the AP bio, but they still do our bio, and it still counts for credit. You still count in your CGPA. So it's very beneficial to do it. It just means you now only need 19 credits when you get your AP. So yeah, you could still do it. And you can have up to 3.0 APs maximum, I think.
Yeah, I just put the link in the chat for the landing page for future students who have any kind of secondary school transfer credits, whether that's APs, IBs, GCEs, French Baccalaureate, Caribbean, all of those are listed. So you can go to the specific AP one and you can see the chart to see what the equivalencies are and what the requirements are to earn the credit.
And to answer the last part of your question, yes, it's automatically assessed. It's not something you would apply for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question.
Thanks, Christina. Vayu asks, where can I view the high school requirements needed to take prereq courses? You will find that in each given program that you're trying to get into. Again, an example would be, I want to pursue psychology major. So again, you go to the academic calendar, go to the list of programs, go to the appropriate alphabetical letter for that program, and then you'll see a listing of programs and click on the specific program on that page and you'll see if it says you need grade 12 or the 4U equivalency to biology or advanced functions and relations. You'll see that in the academic calendar.
You can also check on the timetable builder in the prerequisite category. It would say grade 12 equivalent for you bio, 70% minimum. So it'll tell you on the calendar for the program portion, but in terms of the actual courses themselves, that would be in the actual timetable. So it is a good point, and I'm glad Kate used psychology as an example. because you can easily take the Psych 100 course. It's not going to stop you, even if you don't have grade 12 bio or the calculus. Advanced functions. But if you have tried to enter the program, you'd have a problem. That's with psychology, but bio, math, those list the high school prereqs. So does chemistry. So when you're looking at those specific courses, you have to meet the high school prereqs. Now, it'll let you add the course even if you don't have it. But what would happen is the department would remove you from the course for not having the prerequisite. So, if you're doing the psychology and you don't have grade 12 bio, for example, you could do the Psych 100 and then go to high school, virtual high school in the summer, finish the grade 12 bio, and then apply for the psychology major at the end of the summer. See? So it is possible to do it.
Mhm.
We're happy to have these types of conversations during the program selection workshops so we can tell you what it is that you need to do to get to where you'd like to go. So those are definite conversations we would be having throughout the year.
Yeah. Thanks, Ron. And just to hit this one home again, ACROM will let you add courses that you don't have the prereqs for. But if you didn't check the prereqs and you don't have it, the department's going to remove you. So be very mindful of that. Financial Moment asks, is there a way to check the course outline syllabus of a course? Great question. You will find information again on the information for the course enrollment workbook has a link for course syllabi, and that's past course syllabi. A guide to what might be happening in the future, well, course syllabi are not yet published on the timetable builder, is looking at the course that was offered by the same instructor in, say, a similar term. So if you're looking at a course this fall and it was taught last fall by the same instructor, because that should be listed on the timetable builder who's teaching it this fall, that'll give you a guide as to what the course syllabus might be this coming year. It's not a guarantee, but it can help you. Once the course syllabi are published on the timetable, you'll see that link on the timetable builder, and you can click on that and view the course syllabus. Yes, we're trying to wrap up here. We're going to take some of our final questions here in the chat. So hopefully we've addressed the majority here. Abdul asks, if you are deferring your application for next year, do you need to make selection for your courses this year or next year? You are not choosing courses for this year. If you've requested to defer your admission, do not enroll in courses. It'll be very confusing to admissions as to what you're doing if you've asked to defer your admission. So you're not choosing courses for fall 2023, winter 2024. You don't do that.
So if you're going to
Okay.
defer, make sure you do it on time and make sure you get confirmation. Otherwise, if you think you've deferred your admission for a year and you didn't, you're going to have to reapply to the university and start the process all over again. So let's make sure that you apply for the deferral of 1 year on time and get approval. Then you know not to apply for any courses. So that's a great point.
Thanks, Abdul.
Good question, too.
Nandeepa asks, for the programs I want to go into, it just lists the completion requirements and no enrollment requirements. Do I not have to apply to those programs, or is there some sort of application process? Thank you for asking this question. It's good that you've noticed that. Where you see a program listed in the calendar that just says completion requirements, that's an indicator that that's a type 1 program. That's a program that doesn't have enrollment requirements, that once you're on track to completing 4.0 credits, you could go on Acorn, again, under the academics menu, under enroll and manage, under programs, and just start typing in the keyword box and add that program when it comes up, one that you want. It's an automatic enrollment. So that's a really good indicator when you see in the calendar. Anytime you see completion requirements and you don't see enrollment requirements, that's a type 1 automatic enrollment program. It might give you suggestions as to courses to take to complete the program, but there's no specific courses you need to be worried about in terms of applying for the program. You just add it on Acorn.
And the only program that I'm aware has a different application process is actually forensic science. They have a supplemental application that opens on March 1st. So students have to still apply on Acorn. They also have to do that assessment if you're joining forensics. But they're the only one that has that application process. Yeah.
Cameron asks, what made you all choose UTM? What makes it stand out to you all? I would love our peer leaders to answer this.
But honestly, especially I chose UTM because it's a part of U of T and it is closer to home. However, after the year, I came to appreciate that our campus is very diverse, and since it's a rather relatively smaller campus, I think I had more chances to get to know professors, and um, I think it was like easy to like make friends here too because of the diversity that we have. I think that's yeah, that's what I like most about our campus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with that, honestly. I think that just the campus size, like it allowed me to get to know people, and I also took courses. I took like a course last semester at the downtown campus. And when I went there, like it was very large, and for me personally, I was like, if I like went here and not like instead of UTM, for me, I am like more introverted, so like I find it hard to sometimes like get to know people. So I feel like UTM was like a very good fit for me in that sense that it allowed me to get to know people and meet with professors and build like that sense of community.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
it's a really
much.
good experience to do both. I worked downtown and I went to school downtown as well. And there's something to be said in the wintertime in February, having to walk 3 city blocks to get from one class to another, whereas at UTM I can go anywhere in 10 minutes. So it really was the convenience of the close, compact our buildings are to each other. And just
Hmm.
that, like the students here said, our peer leaders here, just you meet so many more people. My professor knew my name. I wasn't a number. I had 1,000 people in my class downtown, whereas here I have maybe 56 or 500 max. It just was
Hmm.
the setting. It's not better, it's different. And I think you have to just experience those things. But great points, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Cameron asks again. The course enrollment workbook also says that our plans tells us what courses we can take. Should we follow the program plans as well? The program plans are designed to help guide you through a path through 4 years, what you can do both academically and if there's work or extracurricular or global interaction, that it sort of lays that out for you as a guide. You don't have to slave to it, but often these guides are there to set you up to satisfy prereqs in the appropriate order. Because, if you want to complete in a certain time, but you don't take a 200 level course until your third year, then it might prevent you from taking, if it's a prereq, it might prevent you from taking 300 level courses. So it's a very good guide, just to connect program plans to the planner tool on Degree Explorer that we've been talking about. That's a very good way for you to plot out what it's suggesting and what you might want to do, and how that might be possible or not possible depending on prerequisites or course offerings or things like that. But the planner tool will give you that kind of feedback when you plot it out.
Yeah. Just gives you some things you should start thinking about. Not
Hmm.
definitive, like, Kate said, this isn't etched in stone. It's just an idea of how you might structure what you're going to do in the future and some of the things you can start thinking about now to help you make better decisions later. And, where could this lead to for jobs, occupations, or postgraduate opportunities? So the program plans are
Hmm.
amazing. They've been done for
Hmm.
every single program we have. They're amazing.
I'm just going to put a link here to a video on how to use the Degree Explorer Planner tool, just in case you're curious about it.
You can go to Google and type in UTM program plans and it comes up for you. That's how easy
Yeah,
you'll find it.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think we have time for one more question. Sarah asks, is there a specific time course selection will open on July 19th for year one students? For example, do I need to try logging in early morning? As I was saying earlier, you will be assigned a start time on July 19th, like a given start time for July 19th. You need to check that start time before July 19th. So starting July 14th, you can check on Acorn when you log in on your landing page. You'll see this, and it'll tell you what time on July 19th you are to start logging in on Acorn and enrolling in your courses. So don't try logging in on the 19th. Know what time you're supposed to log in. As Ron was saying earlier, if you try logging in and adding courses before your start time, you're going to get locked out of the system, and then it won't be it won't be pleasant, because now you're going to try to get support from IT to get access to Acorn again. So make a note before the 19th of what your start time is, and at that given start time, Toronto time, that's when you log into Acorn. So
So we're getting to the end here, guys. I just wanted to let you all know that you'll be receiving a link, a survey about today's presentation. Please take time to fill it out. It just helps us to provide a better presentation in the future. We want to know what we did really well at, or things that you might wanted to know that we didn't include. We'd be happy to make adjustments to our future. We're trying to make the transition for our first year students to be much more smooth, and not be anxiety provoking. We're trying to delete all that and make things so much easier for you guys. There's tons of help for you throughout the summer. Please pay attention to Eagle Connect invites. Sign up for all the sessions that are available. Ask a Student 101 sessions, these check-in sessions for course enrollment. You guys are going to start to try and do this now, and you just want reassurance or ask a few questions. These are the places where you go to get your information, because one-on-one appointments, as we discussed earlier, just aren't possible at this time. So these sessions are designed specifically for you guys as first-year newly admitted students, to attend and ask questions and get all the answers. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We're really happy you guys joined us. We had the largest group we've had since we started our online session. So I'm very happy we could reach a great number of you. That helps us. I also want to thank Kate for her help today, and my two peer leaders, me and Maheen, and of course, our IT team in the background working. Thank you for everyone. It was a really good session today.
Thanks everyone for coming, and I hope to see you again.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.